Well, hello, it's Miss Gina, and I thought we could tune in to read Ratatouille chapter 7. And I wanted to wish this week Miss Marcia a happy birthday. I grew up watching Miss Marcia and things like that. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Mr. Green Jeans, Captain Kangaroo, all those good old shows. They have raised me, so I'd like to shout out to Miss Marcia Kling, a happy 90th birthday. I believe she turned this week. And so we're going to pick up and read chapter 7 in our Ratatouille novelization book. So here we go. The next morning, Linguini, with Remy hidden inside his chef's hat, chopped and seasoned and chopped, he was making the soup Remy's way. When they were done, Skinner came to taste it. Linguini nervously hovered nearby. "Congratulations," Skinner said in a surly tone. "You were able to repeat your accidental success. But you will need to know more than soup if you are to survive in my kitchen." Boy. At her station, not his, Colette scowled. She knew for certain what was coming next. Colette will be responsible for teaching you how we do things. Colette will be responsible for teaching you how we do things here. Skinner finished with an evil grin. As Skinner stalked away, Linguini turned to the pretty young chef with a big smile. "Listen," he began, "I just want you to know how honored I am to be studying under such a..." He trailed off, noticing the knives she was holding. Colette stabbed the knives one by one through Linguini's shirt sleeve, pinning it to the table. She was the only woman in the kitchen, she explained, because haute cuisine was considered a man's world. So she had to be the toughest cook. I have worked too hard for too long to get here, and I'm not going to jeopardize it for some garbage boy who got lucky," she said. "Got it?" Linguini nodded pathetically. Colette grabbed the knife handles with one hand and pulled them out with a single jerk. Linguini toppled to the ground. He pulled himself up and watched as Colette stomped off. She was scary but impressive. Sitting in his office, Skinner noticed the unopened letter from Linguini's mother lying on his desk. He opened the envelope and began to read. His eyes grew wide with alarm. He immediately called his lawyer. An hour later, Skinner paced back and forth in his office as his lawyer, Talon Labarth, took another look at Gusto's last will and testament. Talon cleared his throat. "Well, this will stipulates that if after a period of 2 years from the date of death no heir appears, Gusto's business interests will pass to his sous chef. You?" "I know what the will stipulates," Skinner said angrily. "What I want to know is if this letter he held is a loft. If this boy changes anything." Skinner raised the blinds to reveal Linguini. Next to the practiced cooking staff, Linguini looked even more awkward than usual. "He's not Gusto's son," Skinner thundered. Gusto had no children. And what of the timing of all this? The deadline for the will expires in less than a month. He narrowed his eyes. Suddenly, some boy arrives with a letter from his recently deceased mother claiming Gusto as his father. Highly suspect. Talon noticed Gusto's chef's hat in a display case. He began to study it closely. But the boy does not know. He asked Skinner brandished the letter. His mother claims she never told him or Gusto, and asked that I not tell. Why you? Asked Talon. Why does she want? What does she want? He spotted a hair on Gusto's hat. He pulled a pair of tweezers from his coat and removed the hair, then folded it carefully inside a handkerchief and placed it in his breast pocket. A job, answered Skinner, for the boy. Then what are you worried about? Said Talon. If he works here, you'll be able to keep an eye on him while I do a little digging. Find out how much of this is real. He put on his coat. I will need you to collect some DNA samples from the boy. Hair, maybe. Mark my words, said Skinner. Paranoia began to creep into his voice. The whole thing is highly suspect. He knows something. Relax, said the lawyer as he opened the office door. He's a garbage boy. I think you can handle this. Colette might not have been happy with her new role as Linguini's tutor, but she grudgingly began to help him out. Step by step, both Remy and Linguini began to help. They began to learn how to be part of a well-run kitchen. Colette taught Linguini how to chop quickly and efficiently, how to keep his messy workstation clear so that things wouldn't slow down, and how to minimize cuts, burns, and spills, and keep his sleeves clean by keeping his hands and arms close to his body at all times. And then there was Remy's favorite lesson, how to identify a good bread by a pleasing crunch of its crust. With his neat sleeves, superior chopping technique, and clean workstation, Linguini was finally an accepted member of the kitchen staff. One night, Mustafa burst excitedly into the kitchen. Someone has asked, "What is new?" He announced. "What do I tell them?" Mused Skinner. "This is simple. Just pull out an old Gusto recipe, something we haven't made in a while, and..." "They know about the old stuff," interrupted Mustafa. "They like Linguini's soup." Skinner's mouth fell open. They are asking for food from Linguini? An idea came to Skinner, an evil idea. He almost rubbed his hands together in anticipation. "Very well," he said. "If it's Linguini they want." He spoke low so that only Mustafa could hear. "Tell them Chef Linguini has prepared something special for them." Here's some pictures. This one says, Remy and Gusto watch the chefs from the skylight above the restaurant kitchen. This one says, Remy is scared when he first arrives in the kitchen at Gusto's. That's what the pictures are of. This one says, Remy can't resist fixing the soup before he leaves. Oh no, Linguini the garbage boy catches Remy cooking. Skinner the head chef is not pleased with Linguini, and Linguini is nervous at Skinner's order as Skinner orders him to get rid of the rat. Some more pictures. There are a lot of pictures. This is Linguini realizes that the little rat might be able to help him in the kitchen. Remy cooks a delicious breakfast for his new friend Linguini. With Remy under his hat, Linguini gets some helpful cooking tips from Colette. Skinner tastes the soup that Linguini and Remy made. It is delicious. It's delicious. Emile enjoys the cheese his brother Remy gives him. In the kitchen, Remy tries to control the still sleeping Linguini. Remy presents himself to the cooks as the chef. A rat in the kitchen? The cooks quit and protest. Django and Emile show up to help Remy make the most important meal of his life. Says, Ego, the most powerful food critic in Paris, can make or break a restaurant with a single review. What will he think of Remy's Ratatouille? There's Ego. Something definitely off menu. And don't forget to stress its linguininess. Mustafa nodded and left. Skinner closed in on Linguini and squeezed in on Linguini, closed in on him, a nasty smile on his face. I can't even do a nasty smile. Now is your chance to try something worthy of your talent, Linguini. A forgotten favorite of the chef's sweetbread a la gusto. Colette will help you. Oui, chef, said Colette. Now hurry up, Skinner demanded. Our diners are hungry. As Skinner headed to his office, LaRousse pulled him aside. Are you sure? He asked. He sounded concerned. That recipe was a disaster. Gusteau himself said so. Skinner grinned nastily. Just the sort of challenge a budding chef needs, he said. He disappeared into his office, humming happily to himself. His evil plan had been set into motion. And next time we'll be on chapter 8. And we'll find out what happens. So I'll see you next time. I hope you're enjoying this story. And that was Ratatouille, a junior novelization, chapter 7. We'll read chapter 8 next time. Bye-bye. Remember to grow